All right. This video is about how to find off-market properties like a pro. So I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And if you haven't seen some of my other videos, we buy a lot of houses creatively, we buy apartment complexes creatively. And we also do the traditional cash where we just buy cash. And the best prospects for this are off-market properties where sellers are needing to sell quickly due to some sort of personal reason. And sometimes a cash offer is one of the best things that they could get in that movement. So if you're an investor like myself and you're trying to find properties like that and trying to get them off market, meaning they are not on the MLS, they are not listed by a real estate agent, you are actually discussing directly with the seller or maybe someone who inherited that property, some sort of off-market property, meaning it's not on the MLS. All right, so tip number one is driving for dollars. Now, if you've followed some of the large podcasts from, to me back in the day, I mean, Bigger Pockets back in the day was like the real estate investors podcast. And I remember Brandon Turner always talking about driving for dollars. And basically what that is you literally drive around in your car and you look for properties that are distressed, meaning overgrown lawns, maybe boarded up windows, just a lot of neglect to the house. And that is a potential lead, but if you don't have the owner's contact information, then what are you going to do? So once you have that address, you're able to go and look up online, either that contact information through a online phone book, or you could use an app to skip trace the property. And there's actually a lot of softwares out there right now for real estate investors that you can just click a button and get the owner's contact information, and then you can call them, text them, do what you want, but make sure you're not, being very aggressive and harassing the owner of that house. So that's number one. Tip number two is a direct mail campaign. And that is where you use some sort of online platform to send out postcards or mailers, or it could be something as simple as literally writing a hand letter to the owners of these houses to see if they're interested in selling. I've done this, oh my goodness, hundreds of times. Whenever I was very new and getting into doing this, and even whenever I had my real estate license, I would write handwritten letters saying, hey, Mr. Homeowner, me and my wife are looking to buy a house in this neighborhood and you thought about selling. That's just one example, but I've sent out hundreds of direct mail or just simple handwritten letters to sellers. So that's tip number two. Number three is just cold calling and texting. What you can do is pull these large lists online through a bunch of different software applications where you can target people who may be tired landlords or inherited properties. There are lists out there of individuals that are just piling up in certain counties, states. You can go as small as you want down in the city. And what you do is you just give them a call to make sure they're not on the do not call list. Make sure you're not spamming them with harassing text messages like I said earlier. But that's number three, is just to cold call and text these lists to find off-market properties. Number four is definitely one of my favorites as well. It's building relationships with wholesalers or bird dogs. Wholesaler is like a real estate agent, but they aren't licensed and they don't post anything on the MLS, meaning it would be on market. They essentially do everything that I listed above already, except they're doing that directly to the sellers, and then they are then assigning what they get locked up to the end buyer, which would be you. So if you make these connections with these wholesalers, they're going out and doing all the nitty-gritty for you to where all you have to do is then buy the property from them. Now, what are they getting out of that? Of course, they're going to get a little fee on top of whatever they negotiate with the seller. That's how these wholesalers get paid. And a bird dog, that is a individual who goes out and finds these deals for you, essentially from wholesalers, is what has been my experience with bird dogs. They just do all the networking with wholesalers. They find these deals and they bring them to you, and they get some sort of percentage in your deal or a finder's fee, and it's up to what you work out with them, of course. Number 5 is to leverage public data or probate. You can make these connections with a probate attorney who essentially has these clients who are inheriting a house and they need to either sell the house, most likely, and that's why they're using a probate attorney. So these probate attorneys, they get these leads of people who inherited these houses. They're going through probate, meaning that someone just passed away and they're inheriting the house. And there's a time period there where everything transfers, and that's probate. So in that little period right there, sometimes the attorney is trying to find a buyer for the house, or they're just going to a real estate agent and get it listed. It just depends on the nature of the individual case. But generally, if you are a cash buyer, if you're an investor, and if you make these good connections with these probate attorneys, sometimes they'll bring the deal directly to you. I haven't been so lucky to find a solid probate attorney. So if you're in Maryland or Pennsylvania or West Virginia, those are the main states that we buy in. If you're a probate attorney and you need a good cash buyer for a quick close, let me know. Please send me a DM. And real quick, guys, before I get to number 6, if you're finding this video helpful at all, please leave a comment below and let me know to continue to make these kind of videos. If you could please just give it a like. You don't even have to subscribe. I'm happy with a like. We'll stop right there. That's awesome. So anyways, number 6 is to network with agents and pocket listings. Agents sometimes come across, they do get listings off market before they become on market technically. So there are a percentage of agents who do sell off market properties as well and still get their commission. Generally, it's within a brokerage, I think, is the legality, at least here in my state. But that's what a pocket listing is basically a real estate agent who sells these properties off market. So you being able to build relationships with these agents definitely can go a long way with the pocket listings and them coming to you first before it hits the MLS. And last but not least, number 7 is to just use social media and other outlets from a creative aspect. I see people all the time finding deals off Facebook marketplaces where they just see a homeowner trying to sell their house off market, not wanting to use a realtor, and sometimes you can get discounts that way. Same with Zillow. There is an entire filter section where you can go in and actually filter by FSBO, which is for sale by owner, meaning they're not using a real estate agent and they're directly trying to sell the property themselves. So there are a lot of ways in that aspect to find off-market properties as well. And that basically wraps up my my quick video here. So like I said earlier, if you did find this helpful, please give me a comment and just give it a like. I'm not asking for a subscribe, guys. I'm not asking for it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.